Hey friends, so terrific to see you again. It's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books, and what we're going to talk about today is a bunch of books that are coming out in the month of July. So it's July. We're now halfway through 2026, and July is a fairly big release month. There are 4 release dates that I'll be going over, and I've got a total of 59 books here. So we're going to try to get through them as quick as we can, but as I usually do with these videos, I will timestamp based on the release dates, and then the titles will be down slightly lower, so you'll have all of the title releases as well. So you can look through there and then go by release date if you want to hear about a certain particular book. Or if you see them all, then you can find the information down below. So I try to give you as much information as possible. I just don't tag them per book because it would just take way too long to do that. And sometimes my descriptions back are short because if they are a continuation of a series, like the first book we're going to talk about, then I try to keep them fairly short. Okay, so the first release date that we're going to talk about is July 7th. Okay, so 7th of July, I have 23 releases, and I would say that the releases this month in July cover every genre you could possibly imagine. So we're going to have a lot of really great stuff in here. And there are a few books that even as I was going through and I was prepping the pages in Amazon, I was like, Aardvark might do that one. Book of the Month might do that one, and so on. So we'll see. First one that we're going to talk about is The Exquisite Torment of Loving Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. So this is book 2 in the Dearly Beloved series. Now, it says book 2 of 2. I have no idea if there's going to be any more. This is a continuing series with the same characters from the first book. So I don't know if it's a duology. Doesn't really say. It says stakes are high, the love is forbidden, and the slow burn turns steamy in this swoony, witty, and heart-stoppingly romantic sequel to The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, which is book 1. Okay, so this is the second book coming out in the series. I have not read the first book. I don't even have that one. Don't think that was one that particularly interested me when they came out, and then the reviews were kind of wishy-washy on it, so I didn't get it. But this is the second book for anybody who really liked that first book. The second one's coming out. Okay, so next one is, this is a contemporary romance called Every Version of You by Natalie Messier. It is for fans of The Love of My Afterlife and The 7-Year Slip. Reese's Book Club lit up fellow Natalie Messier's heartfelt contemporary romance debut follows a woman who gets a second chance at a formative time in her adult life. This time to win the one that got away. I think that basically says it all. So age-wise, she's 32 and she's a lawyer, and this takes place, from the looks of it, in Los Angeles. We can go from there with it. Romance. There's always lots of romance, right? Okay. Next one is Country People by Danielle Mason. And this is a general family fiction type book. A year in the life of a family as they strike out into the unknown, aka Vermont, leaving all the comforts of home behind. A rollicking lyrical novel from the best-selling author of Northwoods and one of America's greatest living authors. It just sounds like it's like family drama. Joyous, absurd, and life-affirming, Country People is a luminous exploration of marriage and parenthood, the nature of belief and the power of stories, and the ways in which we find connection in an increasingly fragmented world. So if I had to guess, I would think one of the book boxes might pick this one up because it sounds like it's right up their alley. So we shall see. Next book is Helpless by Jessica Knoll. And this is one that I am potentially interested in because I read Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. Absolutely loved that book. So I could see myself picking up this one. This says from the author of Luckiest Girl Alive and Bright Young Woman comes a smoldering erotic thriller with a singular mind-bending ending. Love the sound of that, love anything that's a thriller. It's been 12 years since Faye Heron broke Henry Spalding's heart. Henry was her college boyfriend, her first love, but Faye was in danger of being subsumed by him and the intensity of their connection, a connection that took her beyond boundaries she'd only dreamed of crossing. Now Faye is one half of a power-producing duo with her Hollywood husband. Henry is a married father running the family business. On the surface, both of their lives have essentially gone to plan. When a former and beloved college professor suddenly passes away, Faye and Henry find themselves back on campus for the funeral, circling something old and dangerous. Something, if Faye is honest with herself, she has been trying to duplicate for years. But Henry is one of a kind, the kind who delivers a hypnotic apology for the way things ended, the kind who suggests they go back to the hotel for a drink, the kind who drugs and kidnaps her. Wow. Okay. Didn't see that coming. There's more. I don't want to read anymore. That says it all. So, that one sounds really good. It is listed under thrillers as well. So, that sounds really good. Okay. So we have another contemporary romance, which is The Final Score by Lana Ferguson. This is not part of a series or anything like that, so it looks like it's a standalone. A hockey player and a grad student are on thin ice until they meet their match in this sexy romance by best-selling author Lana Ferguson. So Jack Baker is on top of the world now that he's back on the rink where he belongs, but the high comes crashing down when he re-injures his arm immediately following his return to the ice. And this time, he might never be able to play again. Abigail Thompson feels like she's hit rock bottom. It's only been a few months since the massive scandal that finally severed the cord between her and her narcissistic father. And now, in her weeks of grad school, she's been kicked out of the building with very short notice. The last thing she wants to do is ask her half-brother for help after what she's put him through, but it looks like his best friend's spare room might be her only choice. So, there you go on that one. Brother's best friend, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and he's a hockey player. So we got the whole sports thing coming into play again on that one. Next one is In the Wake of the Ruined by Cassidy. Or is it Kalie? Kalie Cassidy. This is book 2 in the Siren Mage series, and book 1 was in the veins of the drowning. So I'm assuming it's the same characters. I'm just double checking. Imogene. Yes, so it is the same character. So this is just the continuation in the series, and it's just saying book 2 of 2. So I don't know if it's only 2 books in it, but it says a powerful siren must face the monster threatening her home, even if it means risking everything, including the king she's grown to love, in this dark and romantic follow-up to In the Veins of the Drowning. That's that one. Don't want to say any more than that. Next one, Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt by Ben Reeves. And this is it says genre fiction, metaphysical, and visionary. Named a most anticipated book of the summer, one of the most original, riveting, moving books I've read in a long time by best-selling Graham Simpson, best-selling author of The Rosie Project. For fans of Frederick Bachman and Virginia Evans, an astonishing, deep-moving novel about finding beauty in the brevity of life, as narrated by the one who knows it best, Death. Sounds very different. That's that one. Next one is An Infinite Love Story by Chanel Cleeton, and it says that this is historical genre fiction, sweeping romantic drama with a touch of magical realism. When an astronaut is lost in space, his wife relives their epic love as she attempts to unravel what truly happened to him in the sweeping love story set against the backdrop of the 1960s space race. Yeah, it gives a bit of atmosphere type feeling to it, but yeah, and definitely literary fiction on that one. Next one is one that I am looking forward to is Into the Fading Twilight by Catherine Cowles. This is book 2 of 4 of the Starlight Grove series, and this is an interconnected romance, romantic suspense is what it is. And I believe that it's small town romance, and it is about brothers. Are they the brothers of a serial killer? Their father was a serial killer? Let me just check the first one. Yeah, it says him and his brothers, they had a violent father. So I'm assuming that's what it was, because that's what I'm vaguely remembering, because I have not read the first book yet. But what I like to do is like to get the whole series and then sit down and read them, because I love her books. They're so great. I love romantic suspense. That's my jam. All right. So always like to read them, and her books are quite good. Next one is Pretty Dead Things by Kelsey Cox. So this is a psychological thriller. Secrets emerge as a Texas beauty pageant turns deadly in this rich and addictive novel with a jaw-dropping twist from psychological suspense author Courtney Cox. So it starts in the year 2000. Isabel Whitmore vanishes at Sherman Ranch in Anhalt, Texas without a trace, and then it goes to 2025 from the looks of it. 2 timelines. It says beauty dies, secrets never do. This one sounds good. I'm hoping somebody picks this up. Book of the month or aardvark. Hear me. Kelsey Cox. Did somebody, was it Book of the Month? Did one of the two picked up? Is it Pretty Little Liars was her last book? One of the 2 book boxes picked that one up. So could very well be that somebody will pick this one. Next one is a contemporary romance. It's called The Roommate Rule by Georgia Stone. When 2 polar opposites find themselves sharing a cabin for the summer, they lay down some ground rules to keep the peace, only to discover that one of those rules might be impossible to keep in this steamy new novel from the author of The Friendship Fling. You know, shared space, all that kind of thing. I don't know if there's one bed in it. It's a cabin, so there you go. Anyway, looks cute. Cute cover. Next one is The Great Wherever by Shannon Saunders. And this is, it says it's genre fiction, horror, ghosts. It said the dead are relentless gossips, or at least these dead are. An impulsive and heartbroken woman inherits her father's share of a tenancy farm that is rich in family secrets and occupied with busybody ghosts in this sweeping family portrait. That sounds actually like it's got some comical parts to it. Yeah, sounds cute. Okay. At 32, Audrey Lamb is stumbling through adulthood, an underpaid gig worker in Washington, D.C. She's grieving the end of a serious relationship and the recent loss of her father. When Aubrey learns she has inherited his stake in a sizable Tennessee ranch, she sees an opportunity to get out of the city and to erase a mounting pile of debt. Okay, so I guess it's going to go from there. It's an expansive family saga told with a wry and distinctly modern voice. The Great Wherever is at once grand and intimate. It explores the ways we learn to define ourselves through and against our families, how we carry on after loss, and how the past lives on in all of us. It sounds like a good one. Also sounds like something that one of the book boxes would pick up, because they love their literary fiction, for sure. Okay, next one is August Pine Does Not Exist by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This is teen young adult, but science fiction fantasy is what it's rated as. It says a teen criminal hacker turned secretive operative must outwit a band of cyber terrorists in this gripping novel from the acclaimed author of The Bone Houses. I was 15 when I became a murderer. That's what it says right there. It's after a hack gone tragically wrong, a teen girl is given an ultimatum: accept a harsh prison sentence or leave her old life behind, adopt a new identity, and use her talents in the service of a covert government agency. So then it jumps to 3 years later. That means she's still only 18, right? Yeah. August Pine Does Not Exist. I think that's great. The cover's great too. Next one, Habits of the Sea by Shea Ernshaw. And this is literary fiction. A new adult novel in which a woman rediscovers the mythical island she stumbled upon as a child and the man she once met who apparently hasn't aged. Interesting. So that, again, literary fiction sounds like something that one of the book boxes would pick up for sure. I mean, I could see Aardvark picking this one up. Next one is a romantic comedy called Rewrite the Stars by Lindsay Hameroff. A sparkling romance between an ex-actress and her contractor, reminding us that it's never too late to rewrite our destiny. So she's semi-retired actress Marissa Morgan, and these days her primary role is mother of two. And then of course, she has an ex-husband, and then in the long vacant house, I'm assuming she's having some work done, right? Some work done. Romance. You see how I did that? Yeah. On to the next one, which is Fabulous Bodies by Chuck Tingle. Now, I'm going to say, I know Aardvark picked up the last Chuck Tingle book, Lucky Day, so I could see them picking up this one. It says, a supernatural joyride where Drive meets Beetlejuice. Poppy Stringer was born to be a star, an aspiring fashion influencer for a day. Poppy moonlights as a grave robber to make ends meet, wheeling and dealing dead bodies across Palm Springs. That's all I'm going to read. Like, oh my God, that's funny. Okay, yeah, I did, it says, his books are horror, dark fantasy, but they do always have a bit of an edge to them. Last book did. We'll see how this one goes, but yeah, potentially could see Aardvark picking this one up. Okay, next one, Crash Into Me by Robinne Lee. And this is categorized as women's fiction, domestic life. In a keenly observed departure from her blockbuster debut, The Idea of You, Robinne Lee delivers a completely new, fearlessly intimate novel of messy and complicated relationships, one that delves into desire, race, power, and the shifting terrain of identity and selfhood. What happens when a fantasy from your past collides with your reality? That's that one. Next one is Most Ardently Yours by Freya Sampson. This one is contemporary women's fiction. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single woman in possession of many romance novels must be in want of a book boyfriend. Okay. Sounds like it's got a little bit of a cozy vibe to it. It says this is no ordinary book. After reading from the pages, Zoe finds herself in a remarkable situation. She has accidentally summoned the Mr. Darcy to the real world. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it's got a cozy vibe going on that one. Next one is Perfect Life by Meredith, Lavender, and Kendall Shores. And this one is listed under thriller and suspense. Welcome back to Winter Park, where looks can kill and secrets refuse to stay buried. Following a shocking murder, a woman must face the husband she thought she knew in this twisty, sizzling novel from these two authors. Actually sounds good. We shall see how that goes and if one of the book boxes picks that one up. Okay, the next one is the mashup by Laura Marie Mayers, and this is, it says humor and satire, literary fiction. It's all fun and games until someone falls in love. Mansion, apartment, shack, house. Ruby Wine is a staunch rule follower who lives by the numbers. So when a surprising breakup on her 35th birthday ruins all her well-laid plans, Ruby makes an unexpected wish, only to wake up inside a MASH game from 7th grade. What? Okay. It's like a flash from the past. Oh yeah, that one sounds fun. Next one is Love Wells Kept. This is book 5 of the Wells Ranch series by Bailey Hannah. It says it's genre fiction, but it looks like it's definitely a romance. After an accident erases years of his memory, a man returns to his family's ranch in hopes of piecing back together the life and love he thought he had lost forever. He's forgotten their love story. She'll help him rewrite a new one. It's definitely romance, but it sounds like it's like a literary romance, and it's definitely contemporary. But it's got cowboys, too, right? Yeah. Okay. Ungodly Rich by Catherine McGee. And this is, it says it's mythology, folk tales, Greek, Roman. So has obviously fantasy. It is a fantasy. Old Gods, New Rules. A modern-day twist on ancient mythology in this bold reimagining of the Greek gods as a family of billionaires with all the messy drama that entails. So it's current, but it's about rich people behaving badly, basically. All right, and then the last one, which I just popped this in here because I know some people do follow this graphic novel series, and this is Heartstopper number 6, and this is a graphic novel romance series by Alice Oseman, and I just thought that I would pop this one in because I know people do follow this one, and so it's coming out on the 7th of July. And that is the last one that I have for July 7th. So now we're going to move on to July 14th. We have 12 books that are releasing on the 14th. And what I did notice when I was going through and I was loading up all the pages here in Amazon, lots of authors that I think are popular, books that I think people are waiting for. There's quite a few that I know I've seen mentioned that people have been reading new arcs for them. October, July 14th is pretty packed full for this particular date. So the first one we have is The Romance Revival by Christina Lawrence. Obviously, this is like contemporary romance. It lists it under genre fiction, but I know that the books kind of fall under both categories, I would say. This one says it is an unforgettable romance in which a fateful accident erases a troubled marriage from memory. A scientific breakthrough gives love one extraordinary do-over. Seems that the couple's married and looks like they're going to get a second chance at their marriage, which I think is lovely. Next book is even one that I'm curious to hear what people think. I've seen people mention this one, but I haven't necessarily seen it reviewed yet. And that is Hot Girl Murder Club by Ashley Winstead. And it is listed under thriller and suspense. I'm trying to think what there was a book of hers that I read last one, and I didn't care for it. But this one actually sounds good. It is What's a Girl Got to Do to Get Some Fame, a Few Million Record Sales, and Justice for Murder. Yeah, sounds like it's going to be a good one. It does kind of looks like it goes back and forth in a timeline, and like there's a little bit of jumping around as far as time is concerned, but it certainly does sound good. I'm going to wait to hear what people say about it, though, I think, before I order it. But yeah, I haven't heard any reviews. So if anybody has actually read the arc, I'd love to hear what you think of it. Next one is Extracurricular by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is listed under genre fiction. I do think it is romance as well. When a former pop star enrolls in college, the last thing she expects is A+ chemistry with her psychology professor in this sexy and tender romance. Ramona Wilder has spent her whole life in the spotlight. After a hit kids TV show, she transitioned into music, singing in arenas around the world and becoming an icon for millions of teenage girls. Now at age 26, exhausted by the inhumane lack of privacy, she's done with all of it. She wants a chance at normal, whatever that might mean for her, and so she starts college. So, there you go. That one sounds like a good one. Okay, next one is another romance. It is In Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto. Looks like it is a standalone, not saying that's part of a series. An academic rivals to lovers romance about storm-chasing meteorologists during hurricane season in Florida. Perfect for fans of Allie Hazelwood and B.K. Borison. So this one actually sounds good. I don't normally, I'm not huge into sports series, so haven't read some of her previous stuff, but this one sounds like it could be fun. Next one is Lady X by Molly Fader. I'm not really sure how that's pronounced. The search for a notorious vigilante exposes the secrets between 3 generations of women in this propulsive novel of female resistance and rage, sweeping from contemporary LA to gritty 1970s New York. So it says Los Angeles 2024, New York City 1977. It looks like it's like genre fiction with historical fiction, and it kind of looks at, like, Lady X seems to be a characterization that moves through both timelines. Not exactly sure how that is, and I don't want to read it out because that always gives crap away. Makes it a little bit boring, but does sound interesting. The Lady X sounds like something that I could potentially see Aardvark picking up because it's unusual literary fiction, has that time jump, that kind of thing. I could see it appealing. Okay, the next one is The Gilded Blade by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this is book 3 of 3 of The Grandest Game. So I think that this is the grand game. I think it's like there's one part of it, and then this is the second set of 3 books, if that makes sense. I think it's like, yeah, the Inheritance Games. Yeah, that's what it is. The Inheritance Games is the first one, and then this is part of the second part of it. It's a different series, but same characters, and this just continues on. So this is the finale, okay? And it's the finale to the global phenomenon of the Inheritance Game saga. Discover danger, riches, romance, and the staggering answers to long-brewing mysteries. Everyone is a player. And it doesn't say, but I think this is it YA? Yeah, it doesn't say, but I think that the previous ones were YA, so not really 100% sure, but could be. Next one is The Death Row Club by V.A. Vasquez, and this is listed under thriller and suspense. A dark and dazzling original psychological thriller about a woman invited to an annual weekend getaway for the adult children of serial killers. But when one of the participants ends up dead, they begin to wonder if someone among them might be carrying on the family traditions. That one sounds good. Of course it does, you know, because it's like a serial killer thriller one. I always love those kinds. Okay, next one is also, this is horror slasher, is what it's categorized under. Cross My Heart, I Hope You Die by Mallory Arnold. One isolated cabin, one cheating boyfriend, one plan to get even. I don't think I need to say anything more than that. Okay, it says it is a biting slasher, perfect for fans of John Tucker Must Die and The Final Girl support group following 3 women who lure their cheating boyfriend to a remote mountain cabin only to realize that darkness lurks within the walls, waiting to pick them off one by one. So that's that one. That one sounds completely creepy, right? Next one is The Intrigue by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, and this is listed as mystery hard-boiled is what it says. Thriller suspense. It says handsome con artist Ulysses has long charmed lonely women via letters in order to steal their money, but money is hard to come by in 1940s Mexico. Ulysses knows his looks won't last forever, and he's desperate to get his hands on a real fortune. He thinks he's found it when he captivates his newest correspondent, Perla, the owner of a small-town boarding house in picturesque Veracruz. But when he meets her, he finds something he didn't expect. The woman has a niece, Inez, who is as observant as she is desperate to escape her aunt's household. Venture into the streets of a small town where a patina of convention and good manners conceals a cauldron of avarice and lust. That one sounds good. So I guess that's her latest novel. Certainly sounds like a good one. I don't think I've read anything of hers, but that one sounds good. Okay, next one is what's considered genre fiction, historical, cultural heritage. It is Everything to the Sea. It says a novel, a debut romance torn apart by a tsunami and a 7-year search for a home, riveting love story, coming-of-age tale. Everything to the Sea is a breathtaking debut novel spanning years and shores after a sudden tsunami devastates the island of Hawaii and cuts short a young couple's budding romance, a deeply moving testament to the catastrophes love can endure. This is how the story goes. Jane will fall in love, and then all of this will vanish. Certainly sounds interesting. Also, as a debut novel, I could see it getting picked up by one of the book boxes. That would not be unusual either. Yeah, that one sounds good too. Next one is The Half-Life by Rachel Beanland. And it says this is rated as 20th century World War II. From the author of Florence Adler Swims Forever and House is on Fire, a novel set on a remote Italian island about a Navy wife's reckoning with power, love, and the price of staying silent in the atomic age. So that gives you an idea of when all this goes down, which I think would be 1940s, somewhere in around there. And it has to do with her husband, who is working for the U.S. Navy. And I think he disappears, or something along those lines. Okay, and then the last one is This Changes Everything by Lisa Scodeline. And in this riveting, deep felt, and empowering thriller, a woman risks her life to help her best friend find justice for a tragic crime and realizes she has more power than she ever knew. Julia Pritzker loves her new life as a wife and mother in beautiful Tuscany, except that she misses her best friend Courtney back in the States. One night, Julia calls Courtney and reaches her as she's arriving at her grandmother's farm in Pennsylvania. Then the unthinkable happens. A dreadful premonition overwhelms Julia moments before Courtney enters the house and makes a heartbreaking discovery. Her grandmother has been murdered and the killer is escaping out the back door. So then Julia flies home, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So that one, of course, that's a thriller and suspense. So that's the last one for the 14th. So now we're going to move on to July 21st releases. So with the 21st, I've got 16 books selected to bring you, and it's kind of a mishmash of a bunch of things. Again, fair amount of romance stuck in there. And that would be the first one is Yes Chef by Grace Riley. It says it's a grumpy sunshine kitchen romance. Okay, so tempting new romance from author Grace Riley, in which a down-on-his-luck chef and a determined social media maven strike a reluctant deal to bring a beloved restaurant back to life. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. So it's that one. A cute cover. It's even got a cat on it. It's like, how can you not like it, right? Next one is A Forsaken Prophecy, which is by Stacey McEwen, and this is book 2 of the Artisan trilogy. So obviously it is a continuing story, so I can't say too much about it, but it says, in a world of high-class magic and gangster grit, a star-crossed couple must decide where their loyalties lie in a sizzling romantasy follow-up to A Forbidden Alchemy. So this is the next one in the series. I did not read the first one, so I can't give any comment on whether or not I think it's good or not, but it certainly has been mentioned by a lot of people who have read it. So I'm sure they're waiting for this one. Next one is The Story Keeper by Kelly Rimmer, and it says a new novel from the author of The Things We Cannot Say. This is like historical genre fiction, it says. In the aftermath of a tumultuous year, Fiona Winslow finds solace in the decaying grandeur of Wimbera, the rambling family estate she once called home. Intent on restoring it, she discovers the keys to more than just the dilapidated mansion. Beneath the crumbling plaster and dust are secrets that have been buried for a generation. A generational story. Something along those lines, definitely literary fiction. I've never read anything by Kelly Rimmer, so I'm just guessing at that. Next one is Not That Kind of Proposal by Victoria Levine. This says it's divorce and separation. From the international best-selling author of Any Trope But You comes an enemies to lovers rom-com and about a hopeless romantic wedding planner and the cynical divorce lawyer forced to help her plan her ex's wedding. Okay, so definitely romance as well in there, but yeah, that one sounds good. You know, the whole wedding planner thing, but yeah, we'll go with that. Okay, next one is Prince of Swords by Elise Kova. This is book 2 of 2 of the Arcana Academy. Again, this is another continuation. It says, welcome back to Arcana Academy. Tarot magic, forbidden desire, battle, and betrayal collide for the power to change the world. I'm not going to say any more than that because it is a continuation from the first book. Next one, She Had Enough by Stacey Gray. This is listed under thrillers and suspense. 6 friends, 1 dinner, and a secret that won't stay buried. Mallory Taylor was looking forward to a fun night out with college friends, nostalgia, laughter, nothing more. But Caitlin, always the quiet one in the group, seems even more withdrawn than usual, on edge, distant. Then hours after the women all head their separate ways, a massive earthquake reduces San Francisco to rubble, and Caitlin disappears. It says it's twisty, atmospheric, and impossible to put down. She Had Enough is a chilling exploration of friendship, silence, and what happens when one woman refuses to stop asking questions. That one sounds good, actually. Next one is, this is supposed to be humorous, so maybe cozy. The Second Chance Trailer Park by Kate Powner. Charming and heartfelt story is perfect for readers of Who Loved Mrs. Quinn's Rise to Fame. It is about a 52-year-old Meredith McGillicuddy is not having a midlife crisis. She's just ready for a change of pace, that's all. The fact that she lied to get into a retirement community has nothing to do with being passed over for a promotion at work or her recent breakup with the only man she's ever loved. Nothing. Meredith wants some peace of mind to sit on a porch in elastic waistbands and mingle with other mature individuals who value a life of serenity. But the residents of Peaceful Pines Retirement Community have other plans for her. These quirky and endearing neighbors seem to know her better than she knows herself, and they decide Meredith's life is only just beginning. Oh, that sounds like so sweet. Such a cute story. Yeah, by Katie Powner. I don't know if I said the author's name. Always have the covers up, though, and you can see those. That one sounds cute. Okay, next one is A Fate Worse Than Drowning by Sarah Hawthorne. And this says it is LGBTQ2S plus literary fiction, gay fiction, for fans of A Dark and Drowning Tide and The Lighthouse Witches comes a queer speculative novel about a lighthouse keeper who made a devil's bargain to save her sister. But when a shipwrecked survivor washes ashore, she's left with an impossible choice. 1, deal with the devil makes a fool. 2, a villain. So it sounds like it has a little bit of fantasy in there. Next one is Cool Machine by Colson Head. This is book 404 in the Harlem trilogy. And it says it's historical genre fiction. And it is an exuberantly entertaining novel that brings to life 1980s New York in the magnificent final volume of his Harlem trilogy. So it is 1981 New York. Then it looks like it skips to 1983 and then 1986. So it's going through a few different like short timelines, but still a few years apart. It says, I'll start with just the first part, 1981. New York City is beginning to emerge from financial ruin and decline, energized by rampant real estate development and a Wall Street unchained by Reagan-era predatory capitalism. Up in Harlem, successful business owner Master Fence Ray Carney has just been named Sterling Furniture's Dealer of the Month. When the banks won't give his beloved wife Elizabeth a loan for her new travel agency, however, Carney gambles on one last heist, finds himself entangled with a legendary criminal mastermind. That one sounds good. Listed as historical fiction, but, to me it's not historical because I was already 20 years old by then. So it's like, yeah. Ancient history. Okay. Next one is Daughters of Naples by Diana Giovinazzo. I think is how it's pronounced. I apologize, but it's one of those last names, okay? It's a historical genre in a lush and thrilling novel, perfect for fans of Christian Hanna and Elena Ferrante. Set in Naples, Italy during World War II, 3 sisters must survive in the face of danger. So it is Naples 1940. Is the time frame that this takes place, and and it is the Cozzolino sisters Lita, Marcella, and Bianca live together in their small home during Mussolini's domination. Lita runs the dress shop where she takes care of her mother-in-law while her husband is at war. Marcella is an apprentice to a midwife, bringing up the next generation of Italian soldiers, much to the pride of her boyfriend, who is inspired by Mussolini's rule. But when her youngest sister Bianca decides to join the Partigiani, the Italian resistance, after her childhood sweetheart had sent to war, familial tensions are brought to light. Definitely literary fiction, historical fiction, all that sort of thing. Okay, next one. If Books Could Kill by Kate Eberl, I think is how it's pronounced. So this is a paranormal romance, is what it says. It's listed under. A novel love story meets a love in the time of serial killers in this rom-com following Roxy Mitchell, an adventure-loving romance reader who finds herself trapped in a meet-cute turned murderess. So when Roxy makes a tongue-in-cheek wish to live out the plot of her favorite author's next novel, she has romance in mind, namely the sweet, safe, swoon-worthy storylines Anna Matthews is known for. It should be a dream come true when her wish is granted and she finds herself swept into a first date with a handsome stranger who seems designed to take her breath away. Except for one little hiccup. The handsome stranger tries to take her breath away, literally with a knife. The thing is, Roxy may be the new Anna Matthews protagonist, but this time Anna is writing a crime thriller. Okay, so yeah, that one sounds cute. Cute cover too. All right, next one is As Long as It Takes by Jill Francis. It says it's contemporary women's fiction. Set in a seaside town in Italy, As Long as It Takes, it's a charming summer romance about finding your roots and letting love blossom. Love isn't exactly a priority for Laura Brooks. After all, her last breakup made it perfectly clear that she can't rely on anyone but herself. That's why Laura's number one focus is her research, where she's hard at work debunking Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But when she's offered a prestigious postdoctoral position in Zurich, one whose funding hinges on her having European citizenship, everything changes. So you can kind of see it says love makes its own schedule. Sounds like contemporary romance a little bit too. Next one is genre fiction coming of age, Destination Funeral by Paige Harbison. And this one says The Big Chill meets About Time in this laugh out loud, funny and equally heartbreaking novel following a friend group so damaged that only a funeral could bring them back together. Perfect for fans of The Wedding People and One Italian Summer. I know I read The Wedding People and absolutely loved it. It was like a 5-star read for me. So I could see myself completely picking this one up. Would be fun if it was offered by one of the book boxes. But yeah, I could see myself reading that one. Next one is Vera Stein is Fine by Julie Murphy. And this is a workplace. It says, it's a heartfelt and hilarious tale of a woman who thinks life and love have passed her by until she's thrown into her grandmother's quirky world of octogenarian free love and gets a second chance with the one man she never expected to see again. Perhaps it's never too late to play the opening credits. So it looks like obviously has some romance built in there too. And I like the idea that it's like a retirement community. It says the tropes are listed as second chance romance, workplace romance, multi-generational family drama, forced proximity, new lease on life, and spice. Okay, so that's that one. It does sound cute. Okay, next one. The Mortons by Justine LeBarlister and Scott Westerfield. I don't know if I butchered that name. I could have totally butchered that name. But it's listed as genre multi-generational. Meet the Mortons. In this family, murder is currency and business is booming. This is a homicide is heritage, it says on the cover, which is funny. The Mortons are a modern-day old money dynasty with impeccable taste. From their exquisitely crafted cocktails to their expertly tailored vintage garments, they are also stone-cold killers. For the Mortons, homicide is heritage. I'm like, okay, that one sounds good, actually, you know. So one of the comments by Charlotte McConaughey says, slippery, sinister, and so much fun. And it does actually sound like that. Okay, so the last one for the 21st is The Dahlia Suite by Karen Jade. In a riveting novel, 3 women come together to investigate a string of haunting disappearances in a tropical paradise. It's in the Caribbean, okay, and it doesn't say time frame, so I'm assuming that it's current, and yeah, so we'll leave it at that, but it does say that it is listed as horror and occult supernatural. So you can take that comment where it goes and see from there. Okay, so that's it for the 21st. So the very last date that we have for releases is July 28th. Okay, so we're on our final date of July 28th, and it is the smallest batch of books. I only have 8 for the 28th, but there are some that I think people probably are waiting for, and there's a few that, again, that I've heard mentioned multiple times. People have said they're coming out and they've read the arcs, that kind of thing. And this first one would be the case. This is a thriller called Getting Away with Murder by Sherry Lapina. and I know she's quite a popular author with some of the thriller YouTubers that I watch. Jill and Ted adore their New York brownstone the way others adore their children. They have carefully, expensively made every inch of it their own. It reflects who they are, their status and taste. With the grand mahogany staircase and state-of-the-art kitchen, it is the stuff of glossy magazines and real estate dreams. It is their sanctuary. So when Ted's inheritance runs out and he makes a bad investment, they panic. How can they protect their beloved home and enviable lifestyle? The answer is obvious, at least it is obvious to Jill and Ted. The death of one wealthy family member from whom they stand to inherit millions could solve all their problems. Together, they will get away with murder. As long as they trust each other, as long as neither makes a mistake, as long as there are no surprises. Yeah, that's a thriller. Okay. The next one is a cozy fantasy called Sea of Charms by Sarah Beth Durst, and this is the third book in the Spell Shop series. And so I think they are interconnected. I don't think you have to read them in order. I think you can read them out of the order. So this one is Marin has always belonged in the great blue sea. Betrayed by love, Marin lives and works as a supply runner, sailing from island to island, delivering an array of goods with Perry, the sea serpent, and Ray, the sailor shrub, as her crew. On one of her routine trips to the capital, Elysium, Marin finds a revolution underway and her friend Dax in the line of fire. What starts as a rescue evolves into a deal. Marin will keep Dax on as a member of her crew if he pretends to be her boyfriend at the end of the harvest festival back home. But against her better judgment, Marin finds herself intrigued by his stubbornness, his passion for stories, his charming smile, and realizes that perhaps she isn't saving him. Maybe it's the other way around. That one's cute. Cozy fantasy. Yeah, gotta love it. Next one is Meet Me in Paris by Kristen Harmel. And let's see, where does this actually start? It's because all bold. So it says 9 Americans in Paris, 7 intertwined love stories, 1 city of light. It's Love Actually meets The Notebook in a tale of love, loss, and finding your way home, all set over the course of one life-changing week in Paris. Hers are always like a genre fiction, and it doesn't actually say when this one takes place. Like there's no time frame written into this. I know some of hers have a historical fiction feel. Okay, next one is Daybreak, and this is book 2 of 2 in the Sorrow Song University. So it says it's genre fiction, but Maxton Hall meets Runix in the stunning conclusion in the Nightshade duology, a dark academia romance brimming with snarky banter and sizzling tension, in which Alex and Ophelia must fight through betrayal, heartbreak, and deadly new threats. So I'll leave it at that. What's the first book in the series? The first book was Nightshade. Okay, so second book, Daybreak. Next one is Buyer Beware by Catherine Ryan Howard. It's a thriller, and it is about 2 women whose shattered lives come crashing together around a house whose secret could bury them. If these walls could talk, they'd scream. It says it's a puzzle box of a thriller full of mind-boggling twists and turns. Buyer Beware is a chilling exploration of the dark secrets that any house can hold and of the lengths we'll go to start over. So that's that one. So, I know I say that a lot, right? That's that one. Well, it is that. And we're moving on to the next one. Okay. This is called Fishbone Cinderella by Elizabeth Lim. And this is listed under Family Life Generational Fiction. A mother and daughter must break their family's curse through trials of war and immigration, love, loss, and redemption in this riveting multi-generational saga with a shimmer of magic. So it sounds like it's got a little bit of a fantastical feel. And it says that the time frame seems to go from 1940s Hong Kong to 1960s San Francisco. A story of mothers and daughters, the scars they inherit, and the magic that binds them. Fishbone Cinderella is a tender and enchanting exploration of what it means at last to be seen. On to the next one. Trying to say, and that's that one. Trying not to say that again. Okay, The Good Parts by Evan Normandin. And this looks like it is genre fiction. Death, grief, and bereavement is in this. She erased their past. He's rewriting their future. It's an epic, sorry, I'm going to kind of rewind a little bit there. An epic, unforgettable love story about a woman who takes a memory erasing pill and the man she once loved who returns as a stranger, hoping to make her fall for him all over again. Fans for one day and in 5 years. So then she erased their past. He's rewriting their future. So that kind of makes a little more sense. I'll be fine. Okay, and then the last one is Tangled Magic by Andrea Eames. And so this says mythology, folktales, Celtic and British Isles. Rapunzel meets Six of Crows in this darkly imagined high fantasy for fans of Teakin Fisher's Nettle and Bone. The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, and Uprooted. A woman with amnesia and magical hair searches for her lost memories while navigating a web of royal intrigue, bone magic, and secret monasteries. So it's definitely a fantasy. I mean, definitely. Okay. All right. So that's it. That was the last one we had for the 28th. So that is 59 books. Okay. That was a lot of books, right? Yeah, so a lot of great releases coming out in July, and love to hear if any of those sounded like they would interest you. And of course, you know, we'll be watching for Book of the Month and Aardvark for the beginning, for July 1st. See what they come out with, because I'm sure they're going to have some of these in there. I would be very surprised if they didn't, particularly ones that they have already featured, and anybody that maybe was a debut. They do like to do that as well. And then, too, they do tend to pick a lot of outliers. And I think there were quite a few in here out of the 59. So we shall see. We'll see what they offer. Yeah, so that's it for this video. Don't really have anything else to add to this. And I have no idea what the next video is going to be. I'm actually working on a concept for that one. So, you know, fingers crossed, and we'll see what I come up with. All right. It was really great chatting with you, and we will see you in the next video.